2, 1. Now we're live. Pretty sure anyway. Now we're live.
Funnel TV. Now we're live. Perfect.
Perfecto.
Oh, we already got a thumbs up from Sean. That was a quick thumbs up. So we must be live.
How are you? We must be live.
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. You know, it's just fun thinking about how we can serve more people through building funnels.
Today's not funnel day, though.
I know. Well, but I'm just saying that it's fun to think about how we can serve more people through funnels and then help through the sales process and help them learn more, do more, be better, because we're helping them with it. That's the cool part.
That's interesting. What did you say? Help them be better, do better, or do better, be better?
Be more, do better, have more, and be more, you know? I mean,
sounds like there's some genius in those little words right there.
There's some what?
There's some genius in those words right there.
Well, you know, what do you want to be, do, have? Right? So most people say, I want to have more something. But if you really want to have more something, you're starting at the wrong end of the equation. Again, the equation is, first of all, be that. I mean, if you want to, you know, have more, if you want to donate to a charity or have more so that you can do that, well, be charitable is where it starts. Start on the other end of it. Be, do, have. Be the person you want to be. Do the things that person does. You'll have the things that person has. So it becomes a model. But again, most people, I was sharing this with a new friend, and I think he'll be a coaching client. The other night, I just helped him, which then it turned into, I think he'll be a coaching client. But
nice.
One of the statements that I share significantly or often is, if you've got a big enough what and a strong enough why, the how shows up. And what most people do is they tend to focus.
What is the what?
Well, that's,
I know the why. What is the what?
I'll break it down. But most people focus on the wrong question. How am I going to do this? How will I accomplish this? How will this happen? Really the wrong question. The real question is, what do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish it? The what is the destination. The why is the why is the fuel behind the destination to keep you going to the destination, and the how is how it ultimately gets accomplished. But if you listen to people in their conversations or when they're stuck, it's never stuck because of the what or the why. Typically, they're stuck because of the how. Well, I don't know how to do that. Why are you watching Double Funnel TV right now? Because I don't know how to build a funnel. Okay, well, what do you want to accomplish with that funnel? Why do you want to accomplish it? The how to build the funnel will become available through Double Funnel TV. Then join us, because if you've got a good idea because of the what and the why, the how showed up, called Double Funnel TV. You know, I think it's interesting because I had a friend ask me the other day, they said, you guys, what you're doing on Double Funnel TV is really amazing, and Jena is phenomenal. I said, yeah, she is. There's no doubt about that fact. Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you understand where that all goes, right? Well, we're doing what we're doing because we understand our what and our why. And so we're trusting that when we put out good value and good information, the rest kind of shows up. So as an example, what do you want to accomplish? As we were talking about the other night, he says, well, what do you want to accomplish? I said, well, I want to positively impact 1 billion or more lives on the planet. He goes, wow, that's a pretty big goal. And I said, well, it's only 1 out of 7. It's not that big a deal, right? And I don't mean to make light of that, but to a certain extent, you kind of make light of it. If Facebook can touch over 500 million lives a day or more, why can't I?
They have I think about 1.8 billion active users a month.
Exactly. And
that's like, what is there, 7 billion on the planet right now?
Yeah, 7.4 or something like that. It grows pretty fast these days. But yeah, that's the point. So in essence, when I say that to somebody and they go, well, that's a big number, I said, so are you suggesting that Mark Zuckerberg is more effective than I am? No, he found a medium. He found a way to touch more lives. Would you agree that he touches 1.8 billion lives a month?
He does.
Okay, so if he can, that's a month, not in a lifetime. Well, if he can do that, why can't I do that? The point is I can. I just have to figure out what I have to do is I have to figure out what I want to do. I want to positively impact 1 billion or more lives on the planet. Why do I want to do it? Well, there's a variety of reasons. It makes me feel good. It's cool. It's fun. That's not the main reason. I've been granted gifts and talents and capabilities different than many other people. So I've been granted the skill set and the ability to talk to large numbers of people at a time and to communicate and to be creative and to think of things. So I want to use the talents and capabilities that I've been gifted and granted to serve the greater good. The other side is I'm hoping some other people want to do the exact same thing for me in return. I mean, there's a yin and a yang. There's a give and a receive, right? So what do I want to do? I want to positively impact 1 billion or more lives on the planet. Why do I want to do it? Because I've been granted gifts and talents and capabilities that would allow me to do such a thing. And so therefore, if I don't utilize those gifts and talents and opportunities, I'm kind of being selfish. And I don't do selfish well. I don't like that. Well, how am I going to do it? Well, all of a sudden, Jena calls and says, hey, I got this wacky idea about doing this live every day, 5 days a week from 9 to 10. Would you like to do it with me? Sure. Well, I haven't even explained it to you yet. You don't have to. If you think it's something that would be good, let's make it good. See, when you got a big enough what you want to do. So for you with double funnel, or I can ask you, but my observation would be, what do you want to do? You want to show people that having you want to show them that they can improve their lives significantly through understanding of digital marketing. Why do you want to do that? Well, because you learned it for yourself. You saw what it could do for you. You saw what it could do for others. You want to share that. So how do you do it? You start double funnel TV. See, the what and the why created the how. The how didn't exist a few months ago. But because you're focusing on the what and the why.
I think the how came because I was listening to a podcast by Entrepreneur on Fire, I believe. And he said he was in a room talking to other podcasters thinking about getting into it. And he was like, they were all talking about doing them once a month or, once a week. And he's like, well, what if you did it once a day? And everyone's like, it can't be done. He was like, why not?
Well, that's the point. You just described why this order and why this is so important. Because, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I could do a podcast every day. Well, that can't be done. Are you kidding me? There's no chance. Why can't it be done? You think we're the only people that do this 5 days a week? Come on. So the point is, in their frame of reference, it couldn't be done. But in reality, it can be done.
I think he did it. So I feel like you always have to look at how is everyone else doing it. The reason it can't be done is because of how they're doing it. So he looked at it. He said, instead of trying to film on, sporadic days or, on the day of or, the week of or something like that, he films 30 in one day. So he just knocks them out. He makes all his interviews in like a day or two and then sends it to the editors and they put it out. Ours was, we looked at it and said, well, why do you have to have everything sound quality checked? If you're not going to turn around and put it on a podcast or a radio syndication,
right,
shoot it live.
Right.
Takes away all the editing. That's the hard part.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I just got a message.
That's fine. But kind of going back to the theme of Friday, so you have a great what and a why. I think those are probably the two critical. You can always find the how.
Right.
So how you build a great funnel, and you're a coach. We've got several coaching clients, several coaching members. If they build a funnel, and like the funnel that we built this week, it's all about getting appointments. Right. If you're doing the book one, it's really, that one's a lot of times about getting appointments. If you have a funnel to get appointments, what is the best way to drive sales? Right.
And so again, when you, it's, if you go back, I mean, you could go to talkingwithgiants.com right now. When I first wrote Talking with Giants, now the book has got 21 charities tied to it, and the premise of the book, or what became the premise of the book, after interviewing the giants that I interviewed in that book: Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Harv Eker, Cynthia Kersey, CEO of Kimberly-Clark, USGA Mid-Am golf champion,
so no one's special, right?
World Long Drive champion, the guy who owns the World Long Drive tour. Anyway, what you found out, the bottom line crux is generosity builds prosperity, not the other way around. When you give, you prosper. Now, you don't give to prosper, but the natural byproduct of giving is prospering. Okay, so that's what I found by talking. Everybody who's anybody who's accomplished any level of success in their life has got this desire in this heart to give back. They either give back as a thank you for somebody who gave them the hand up when they needed it, or to give back to something that really touches their heart, or whatever the reason is. Whatever the reason is, the reason is. Okay, yeah. That part's all cool, right? So as an example, when I wrote Talking with Giants, I created my morning proclamation, or my morning declaration, is I'm attracting into my life everything that I need to positively impact 1 billion or more lives on the planet, cause over $100 million in charitable giving, and living the most fabulous life I possibly can. That became my morning declaration in 2003 or thereabouts. Okay. So this idea of, like the Facebooks of the world and the things like that weren't accomplishing the things that they're accomplishing. In other words, the reach was not there when I created that statement. Okay, and again, understand, for anybody who's watching this, I'm not sharing this stuff to impress you, but really to impress upon you that you can make any decision you want. So again, if I say I want to positively impact 1 billion or more lives on the planet, and somebody goes, well, that's ridiculous. Okay, in your world, that may be ridiculous. In my world, it's actually not ridiculous. I mean, I've done 8 infomercials. I've been on multiple TV shows. I had my own TV show.
You had your own TV show?
Yeah. I can't tell you how many people I've impacted. I can't tell you for a fact, but here's the point of all that. The fact is, my desire is to positively impact 1 billion or more people on the planet. That's the target. Well, if you, one of my buddies who's the general partner at Park Place Auto Group here in Dallas says, better to shoot for a star and miss than aim for a stump and hit. You know? So the point is, you know, I've had people say, well, so have you accomplished your goal? No. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm on my way there, right? I've probably spoken to 1 million people live in live events. And so now if they all know 100 people and they all say something to those 100 people, that's 1 billion. So it's possible, right? But it's more the point of creating the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal.
BHAG. Big,
hairy, audacious goal, right? It's that.
I feel like that one needs to be up. Go ahead.
Well, but it's way out. It's way out ahead of you, right? And so when you create a BHAG, and you, well, the other one was, which is really funny, and now I feel a little. Actually, I don't feel bad about it, but I think we'll blow it away. I think we'll do that this year, and that is create $100 million or more in charitable giving. I mean, I'm going to share some things with you this afternoon, and we've been working on it, so you know parts of it. But the point is, I think with some of the revelations I've had this week about this program, I think we can cause over $100 million in charitable giving this year, just this year. So the point is, when you start to think, I mean, I can show you the math. I can show you how it's happening. When you got a big enough what and a strong enough why, the how shows up. So as an example, I was discussing this with somebody Wednesday, and they went, oh my God, you have the piece that we're missing. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, we've got the mechanisms and the reach. We've got 180 million person audience. So we've got the reach, but we don't have the system to create the giving. And you have it. So because
we're kind of getting here into, and this is because I know more than you're actually saying, to drive traffic into a system to make more money, to grow your possibilities so you can reach your bigger, hairy, audacious goals. It's, and again, you're not actually saying it, but it's leveraging someone else's audience and list.
It could be.
In a way that
and by the way, Harry is H-A-I-R-Y. You put Harry, the, you know, your friend Harry. No, the and we lost you on the screen. But yeah, my point of all that is that how wouldn't have been possible unless I had the what and why very clear in my mind. But because I had the what and why very clear in my mind, it now allowed me to share that what and why with somebody, and he has the how. That's how, see, that's what really works. So again,
well, this is why people, I think, that they think the book The Secret works so well. This is essentially that concept where
it's exactly that.
You have, now regardless of why you think that works, whether you think it's literally energy, brain waves, or whatever, or if it's really just about what you project because you're constantly saying, here is my why, here is my what. When you know it really crystal clear and you're constantly repeating it just constantly putting it out there, and every person you talk to ends up knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it, if they hear that and they have any connection to that whatsoever, or they need that, or they've been thinking about that too, and you just said it, you've instantly magnetized or attracted or whatever you want to say, but now they know what you're doing and they're like, oh, wait, I'm listening now.
That's exactly it. The point is that nobody can help you accomplish what you want to accomplish if they don't know what you want to accomplish. See, and I said it in the training I did down in Houston on Saturday, build it and they will come only works if they know you built it.
Even if you, so I don't, even past that, you have got to figure out, so to give a real world example, our Business Growth Network, back when I was still in a co-working space, and I had negotiated to use the conference room. And the biggest reason to actually use the conference room is, as a female, I didn't want to be in an office with closed doors and windows by myself with a guy.
Right.
Much for safety and just for, you know, I don't want to make any wives mad or husbands mad. Just keep it simple, right?
Right.
But now you have a conference room and you're like, man, instead of just meeting clients, I've got 10 chairs. We could host training. So
Right.
I would have training, and we would have office hours where people could come ask questions that maybe you couldn't afford regular consulting fees, right? So then when I got the bigger office space, we've got 24 chairs now. I was like, man, we can hold more people. Let's put our open office hours on Meetup so other people can find us.
Right.
Problem. Our office hours are during the workday. So now the only people who could come, even if they wanted to, and they knew about you, they can't have a 9 to 5. Because it's not at lunch.
Probably
it's
not.
At 10 o'clock. It requires, you being able to be somewhere from 10 to 12, right? Most bosses, that's not their schedule, right?
Yeah.
And so we moved it. So because we weren't getting that much leverage when it was at 10 to 12, even being on Meetup. And so we moved it. And the first day we moved it, and it was kind of like random. There was no big, hey, we're moving it. And no one came. Like, I even lost our regular people because they were like, oh, you moved it on me.
You moved my cheese.
And then I was like, you know what? Let's just start treating this like I would treat a client, or like I would treat an event, right? What would I do? You've built it. You have a meetup. We've now moved it to lunch. So we've acknowledged who our ideal person is that we want to be in the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
We already have content. Content, in this case, for me, is the easy part. And we have all the how. But what we don't have is traffic, right? People are not showing up at the door. What do? I spent the entire week leveraging our LinkedIn system for filling a calendar for clients, but I did it for our meetup group. And lo and behold, and you were there, I was afraid we were going to run out of chairs.
It was awesome.
I'm actually looking at now, like, how can I put some of the counters in, and so I can, get 8 more people in the room, Now people are dying to go, and the only difference, besides, we did move it to Tuesday, so we acknowledged that our avatar needs a lunch because a lot of people hustling out there need something where they can keep their job. Right. We drove traffic from LinkedIn, and we let everyone know, here's our why: to educate and create a networking group that's not superficial, not like, here's my pitch, buy my stuff later, I'm out. Where we genuinely want to educate the hustler, the small business owner, right? The introvert, the sales guy who's on his own coming up with those leads, right? We genuinely want to help you. We want to be genuine in providing an environment where we are truly creating a network that's helpful, where everyone reaches out and helps the other people in the network. Here's a link if you want to go. I hope I'm not being annoying. Packed out.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
And then what does that do? As soon as you have the audience, it attracts even better speakers.
Right. So that's the again, think through, until you announce what you really want to do, nobody can help you accomplish what you really want to do. As entrepreneurs, I think many times we sit there and think, well, you know, nobody will be as passionate about this as I will, or this won't make a difference to them, you know, because it's my cause, not their cause. You'd be surprised. You know, it's really funny because, you know, just all the different things we've done. And I want to thank you for that. I mean, you've opened my eyes to so much stuff. And I actually think that because of the things that we're doing, you and I, and Double Funnel TV and some of this, that you're going to be a big part in me positively impacting 1 billion or more people.
I'll be honest, I think that's the only way to do it.
No, I get it. So do I. But I'm not fighting that side of it in the least. But it's
I want everyone else to, because I feel like so many solopreneurs think they're being so cool doing everything on their own.
Yeah. And they're getting their butts kicked, and they're not admitting the truth, and they're not, you know.
Billie Jean Shaw was harsh. She actually has an ad right now running on Facebook that calls you out and says you're not being anything. You're not special because you don't have any employees, that you don't have any partners, and that you're not reaching your goals because you're not putting on your big boy pants and creating a big boy business.
Who's suffering by you playing small?
You know, you told me that a year ago, and I still remember it, and I play it in my head every time. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Well, but again, playing small doesn't mean that you're small. I mean, playing small, I mean, if you're playing small, you probably are small. But I'm saying, who's benefiting by you playing small? Nobody is. So why, you know, somebody said to me the other day, it's really funny, because I said, I was talking about something, and I said, I think we can raise $100 million this year. And I think ultimately we can put together a program that raises $1 billion. And they went, you're serious, aren't you? Yeah, it's called math. That's all it is. That's all it is when you see something, when nothing gets put on your heart, you're not being prepared to accomplish. There's a pretty good book that says this. So
I hear that book is the best-selling book of all time.
It is the best-selling book of all times. And what I found out the other day, I'll give you the next strangest. This is, everybody probably knows that it's the best-selling book of all time. But here's what things most people don't know: it's also the most stolen book of all times.
Stolen,
right?
Are you talking about everyone who goes to the hotel and steals it out of the drawer?
That's one place, but also in shops and in different things. Seriously. So, I mean, there's some good stuff when it's the most stolen book on the planet. That's, you know, now you might want to read the book and realize you shouldn't have done that. But
you're using the word stolen like legit, like stolen, like theft, not just like I copied the words, but
no.
Stolen.
No, seriously, I found that out the other day, and it was like, oh, that's a weird fact. Anyway, the point of this all becomes,
that's my weird fact for the day.
Yeah, the part of this that, again, together we can accomplish all sorts of stuff, right? And I think I said, you know, we're sitting in this politically charged environment, where on one side people are saying, I'm celebrating the fact I'm totally independent, but let me tell you when to stand up, when to sit down, when to clap, when not to clap, when to react, not when to. But I'm independent. Does anybody else find that not exactly congruent, an oxymoron, right? So, or we care about our vets, but then there's not enough money going to their programs to serve them, right? So there's an oxymoron going here. What's wrong with stating, I want to serve more people, and if that's your goal too, let's do it together. right? And I think that that's why we're in such a world of community right now, that people are, they're dying for community. They're dying for somebody that says, you know, Jenna, that's a really freaking interesting idea, as opposed to, Jenna, what the hell are you thinking? Right? I mean, we're far more in that what the hell are you thinking mode. Well, that'll never work. Well,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Who do you think you are? What do you, and so again, back to the positively impacting 1 billion or more lives on the planet. I was doing a radio show and I said that, and the person said, you really think you can do that? I said, yeah. I said, I have to believe I can. In essence, by you asking that question, you're saying Zuckerberg is better than I am. Now, he's probably a really good guy and has done some pretty amazing things, but you know what? I've been given some pretty cool gifts and talents too.
But here's the thing. I think we're Americans specifically get very small-minded here. Is America is not the largest country by far. Like maybe
not even close.
But when it comes to people, we're really not. And we have been the leader in so many things when it comes to technology and selling the living daylights out of people so bad that they are sold out. We do have a highly, fairly educated crowd, compared to much of, let's say, more third world countries. I'm not talking about the industrial ones.
Right.
I was amazed when I did the big launch, not just for Kyvio running the background, but with Kyvio, right, where I was at the forefront and the face of a big part of it, at how hungry other countries are, the people there are for the information that we find at this point boring. Like even the UK is so far behind the US in terms of digital marketing that it is easy to pick up business there because they're just at that cusp where they know they need it.
Right.
But no one in the UK is doing it.
Right. And so I got a buddy, it's funny you mentioned that, but I got a buddy, Nori Ashcroft, and Nori needs to be championed because he is taking on the bullying epidemic throughout Europe and starting in the UK. And he plays a character called Lionel Vinyl as a DJ. It's hilarious. And he's such a good dude. And, when you meet somebody who's got a true desire to make a difference, that's what I said to him long ago. I said, I'll do anything I can to help you. Just because his heart, what he's working to do. That's the vast majority of things that most people want today. It's just join them in their dream. Join them in their, I mean, if there's alignment, obviously.
Dying for community.
Well, they are.
Dying for it.
Yeah. They are.
Don't get me wrong. I love social media, and when people bash it, I'm just flabbergasted because as someone who came from a military family constantly moving, someone who was in the military constantly moving, deployed across the globe away from family and friends, I just saw social media. I was like, this is brilliant.
Right.
I was like, the concept that I can get on a medium, a platform, while deployed and constantly see at my own convenience, right, whenever bombs and mortars are not flying, but when I have a chance to get online, when I have a chance to get to a cafe with internet, when they finally get internet hooked up, at my convenience, I can hop on and I can see what my friends and family are doing, that I can see that they're okay. I can see those smiling faces of the kids and the happiness and the reason that soldiers go. I can see that at my convenience. I can add my own comments. I can communicate with them. I can feel community on my time, and they can respond in their own time. Because back in the day, I don't think people realized how bad it was. We were limited in the military to a phone call, no video, no internet, no regular pictures, and the audio quality was terrible because it's harder to get a consistent line out. Whereas an internet connection, you just get a zip. It's a lot easier to get through. And then you get all the pictures. You don't have to wait for the mail to go through all those planes, all that desert, and hope that that plane made it through and didn't get shot down to see a picture of your kid weeks after it's been taken.
Right, exactly.
That power is so great. I think people lost track of that.
Well, I think they have to. We're taking in the pieces of information that are cluttering us and bothering. I had a friend posted that last night his 16-year-old daughter tried to take her life.
Oh
man, right? I mean, you just go. I said, buddy, I'm so sorry. Know that we're thinking about you. Let us know if there's anything that can be done, all those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And with the people he talked to, they felt a big part of it was screen time. Not, it was what friends have said about some body shaming issues and some this and some that and you just go, gosh, it's social media can be such a wonderful thing. Can be, but it can also.
That goes back to humans. How do you want to use it? That's why when, we're talking traffic, one of the things somebody was asking me, does my LinkedIn outreach work or is it like spamming? Right. When I'm trying to fill calendars, get people to events. And I take LinkedIn and I take what might work as a salesperson like yourself trying to start a conversation, and I put it on like steroids with cocaine and a little crack thrown in for good luck. Like, you can send 500 messages a day. You can send 200 new connection requests specifically to your target market. You can choose to do that in the most spammy, disrespectful way possible. Hey, my name is Jena. I build funnels. Would you like to spend $500 a month with me? Or you can use it in a way to positively impact the people you're reaching out to help them with their dreams.
Right.
Hey, my name is Jena. I'd love to help you network with some people in your area to build a community. And while you're at it, we're going to teach you how to do something. And by the way, zero sales pitch.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And people were like, does it work? I was like, I filled the room. It doesn't matter if it worked. It filled the room, and that was what it was supposed to do. And they wanted to come back. And if they didn't want to come back because we helped them, they wanted to come back because you threw pie at them. You threw pie at them.
And Rayanne loved the pie.
Oh, Rayanne was so giddy about that pie. She's still giddy about the pie. She texted me about the pie this morning. Said it was great.
So the point of all this is, when it comes down to people make sales way harder than it is. In fact, I'm writing a script, finishing up a script for a couple of videos. And I said to a friend of mine, so again, same kind of thing, right? Just happened to run into a friend. He's got and I didn't do it to have him do this. But I said, he goes, what are you up to? And I said, well, it's interesting. I know all the stuff you do in video. I realized that one of our landing pages, or that I really need to create a couple videos for the landing page. So I'm actually, but I want them to be very specific. And I can wing stuff as well as anybody can. But I said, what I really want to do, because again, I knew who I was talking to. I said, I need a teleprompter level video.
Oh.
In other words, I need to, producing it so it doesn't seem like it's teleprompter for me is really.
Oh, I know what you mean. You mean the professional quality one where you're looking right in the camera,
well,
but you're really looking right in the teleprompter?
Well, but
it's
because the words need to be, I really want the words to be exact, right? And so that's.
No, I get it. When
I can wing the concept.
Is the same.
yeah, I can wing the concept easily, but I really want the messaging to be pretty specific, right? And so he said, well, that's how this whole thing developed. He said, well, what are you doing it for? I said, well, what we're really going to do is we're going to raise a ton of money for some really great people. And so that's why the appeal has to be accurate, because it's a contributory kind of thing. I want to encourage people to support the cause. If you like what you hear, take action. And if you don't, God bless you. Thanks for listening, right? One of those kind of things. And as soon as I shared it with him, he said, well, that sounds like the piece we're missing in our project. And so then we talked about his project and we figured out it is the missing piece. And then he goes, done. I said, what do you mean done? He said, don't even think about doing it, you know, the way you produce. He goes, you're awesome at producing videos on the spot. He said, don't do it that way. Let's go in studio and I'll do it.
In studio, there's a type of video that is just better done in studio with a teleprompter, because if you can take you know, one of the stories, and I want to say it was Ogilvy who the story's about, which for those of you who don't know who Ogilvy was this great copywriter. I think Don Draper from Mad Men. That's the person he's based off, right? And he was paid $120,000, as the legend goes, to write one letter for the Smithsonian, and he had a year to do it. So think about that, an entire year's pay, good pay, because this is back in the day, right? To write one letter. And that letter was so powerful that I want to say in its first year, it made like 2.2 million or something crazy amount. And it went on, and they used it for like 25 years to sell the Smithsonian magazine effectively.
Right.
Now imagine the power of that sales letter, perfectly word for word, with practice over and over again, and with perfect clarity on audio, with conviction, right? Maybe some nice music laid over it or some imagery cut in and out, but you're looking directly at the camera. You have the exact words in front of you. You don't want to memorize it, because then your brain, instead of focusing on you know, the emoting, the emotion, maybe emoting's too big of a word. You don't want to have to worry about memorizing it. You're never going to memorize that speech as well as when you have a teleprompter. In fact, I've heard that that's the hardest part of a TED Talk, is getting that speech down, like almost down to perfect memory. Yeah,
well, the point is all of that comes through. It's so funny. My speaking mentor way back when I said, John, I just want to be as good as I can be. And he said, well, I'll give you two different ways of doing that. And I said, okay, what's that? He said, if you want to do what I do, do what I do. I go, what? I said, if you want to do what I do what I do. If you want to be able to accomplish the things that I've accomplished, do the things I've done to get there. Learn the ways, learn the different things, right? And he said, anything, he said, the way to become a great speaker, you want the key? He said, absolutely. Speak. It's the only way of doing it.
Yep.
You've got to do it. You've got to get on stage. So that's why, again, I've been blessed to do well over 2,500 events. I don't know what the exact number is anymore. I don't really track it. But the point is, when people sit there and say, can you train me on speaking? The answer is, yeah, I've done it. I mean, I can tell you what works, what doesn't work. I can tell you when to go for a joke, when not to go for a joke. I can tell you when to ad lib, when not to ad lib. I can tell you when it needs to be a teleprompter reading, when it can be total free flow, right? But what gets me is when somebody who doesn't speak tries to teach you how to speak. It's like, that would be like, okay, I've been around Jena enough now. I think I'm going to go into the digital marketing coaching business. It's like, well, yeah, I know some stuff, but it's not what I do, you know? So again, I can give guidance and bounce from it, right? The point is that, again, when we know what we want to do and why we want to do it, how to do it shows up.
I think to some extent that's our talk today.
Yeah.
Know your why. I think why is probably the first one. You have to have a crystal, and that's where like David comes in. And I'll be honest, every time I'm having a bad day or I'm not positive about, you know, whether I should say yes or no to something, that why, that needs to be concrete. You need to know your why crystal clear. When you know your why, I think the what starts to form, right? You just start to know more crystal. It defines the how. In today's age, with Google in your hands, right, with this massive supercomputer, that would have been a supercomputer back in the day.
Yeah, no kidding.
You can figure out the how. You tell enough people what your why and what is, and like you said, and I think that is, there's a lot of brilliance in that. If that's big enough, not just your why, like David's always like your why has to be big enough, but I think your what is too.
And now your what needs to be big enough. Your why needs to be strong enough.
Okay, so
your why doesn't need to be big. Your why needs to be strong. It needs to. If you look at Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill interviews the top 500 industrialists of his time. He finds there are 13 key characteristics that all 500 have. The thing that's most unique about that is none of them were inbred attributes. They were all learned attributes. And why that be, in other words, ingrained. They were not natural. They were not born with these attributes. These are learned attributes. And so what's so valuable about Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich and that material is that the 13 key characteristics that all the top 500, think of it as the Forbes 500 list, right? The Forbes 500 wealthiest people in the United States at the time, in essence, right? Carnegie actually commissioned Napoleon Hill to interview all these people because what he was looking to do is to verify and validate his wealth formula. How did he become one of the wealthiest people in the world? And so he wanted to verify and validate how the other people did it and see if they did it the same way he did it so he could learn. So here's the wealthiest, one of the wealthiest people in the world, still learning how to do better, right? So so Napoleon Hill goes out and interviews the top 500 industrialists of the time over the next 20 years. And he finds 13 key characteristics in common. Now, again, we'll give that lesson another day, but here's the one that attributes to this point right here about strength of why. And that is, you have to have a burning desire. You have to have the Vikings went to conquer a land and burned the ships.
Say that again, it cut out a little bit.
I said the Vikings, when they went to conquer a land, once they landed, they burned their ships. There was no retreat. We are either...
They did wait till they conquered it.
No, they really didn't. It was, we're going to conquer.
Show up and they're like,
we're going to conquer or die.
Like burn the bridge.
Right. But see, that's so okay. I shared the stage with a Navy SEAL on Saturday, right? And he said,
which one?
What do you mean? Which stage or which SEAL?
Stage is irrelevant. I want to know about the Navy SEAL.
He's a friend, Garrett Unkelbach. He was with SEAL Team 3. Good guy, really great.
I want to meet David Goggins. If you know that one,
yeah.
Hook the girl up.
So anyway, he said when he was going into SEAL training, they say, "What's Plan A?" And he said, "Plan A is to become a Navy SEAL." And he said, and they ask, "What's Plan B?" And he said, there is no plan B. There is only plan A. And he said, if on a SEAL application you put a plan B, very hard to get into there is no plan B. And far more people wash out of SEAL training than go through, than make it through SEAL training.
Well, yeah, SEAL training.
But that's
in the Air Force is
right.
Oh, paratroopers, the guys that jump into the water from the helicopters and save people. And I knew a guy one time. He made it all the way through, but one of the last tests is drown training.
Yeah.
Like they literally drown you. Yep. And here's the secret. It really is that you're just willing to be drowned, and they'll save you afterwards. And
and it's funny.
Nobody makes it past that.
He shared that story from stage the other day. At a certain point, he said, running out of air underwater isn't what kills you. He said, staying underwater without air is what kills you. He said, the fact is you actually go through a point where your body, you actually get euphoric.
Yeah.
When you're, and he had the technical names for it and what happens within the body. But he said, you purposely do it. But when you're down 12 feet in their pool, and when you run out of air, should you surface, you're out. You're out of the program. You have to stay there until you're either rescued by the instructor or you accomplish whatever the situational, until they allow you to surface, you don't surface. And so again,
we do that in the chamber. They do it with us because that happens when you're up in the air too.
Yeah. And
they actually and now we're not underwater, so we can actually film and we mock each other. They put a bunch of baby toys in there, and they're basically pulling out all of the oxygen, like all of the air is yanked out of this chamber. And they give you things like cards, and they tell you, like, tell me what's on the card, and you just start being incoherent, like it's an apple. And you're like looking at the ace of hearts, and you're like, all right, those toys where you put the different shapes in, we use those, and all of a sudden you're taking a square and trying to jam it in a round hole, and all the instructors are laughing at you, and you're just there. And yeah, I mean, you get things like headaches too, but euphoria is oddly enough one of the ones. It's like being drunk a little bit.
Yeah, well, he said they actually have a glass-walled pool where everybody's watching this happen as well, and they film it, and then they go back and they
like mocking us.
It is. So they film it. But anyway, here's the point of all this: is it's the strength of your why. See, because there's gonna, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're you work in a corporation, whether it has nothing to, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's whatever it is, there will come a time where you're going to be tested. And there is going to be a time where you've got to draw on that strength of it. Let's put it this way. So do you think it's easier to positively impact 1 billion lives on the planet, or easier not to impact 1 billion lives on the planet? Which one is easier?
Not.
Exactly. You think it's easier? Do you think it's easier to cause $100 million in charitable giving, or not cause $100 million in charitable giving?
Not.
Not is always easier. And
that was I was mentioning Goggins. I imagine David Goggins shares a lot. I mean, he was a Navy SEAL. I'm sure a lot of their stories are very similar. But he was relating it to, you know, when he went in, he was like, you know, fat and unmotivated and probably depressed. And he said his whole life he was comparing it to a road. He said when given the fork in the road, and one way is like a 6-lane highway and the other way is like this forest where you've got to like machete your way through, the vast majority of us choose the big highway that's easy, and that's the not. It's
right.
Easy. Get up, go to your job, get your paycheck, do the bare minimum, play on Facebook half a Friday, celebrate the weekend, Netflix and chill, complain about your job on Sunday night, go in, repeat, hate your life. or
exactly,
get a machete, hack your way through, and do the work, or the military version of embrace the suck to get where you're going and accomplish the task. It's harder, but it is more euphoric. You get to experience a life that nobody else has. All those great accomplishments, it's just by doing, I'm not going to drop the F-bomb, but doing the F-bomb work.
Yeah. Well, and so I was backstage with John Maxwell one day, and I said, John, congratulations on your success. It's really inspiring to watch everything you've accomplished now, all the trainers you've trained and all the different things you've done. He said, what's the kind of number one situation you get asked about, or, you know, just trying to pick his brain, just trying to hear something. He said, well, everybody wants what I have. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. You know, as a trainer, it'd be kind of cool if I had trained as many people as you had, and, you know, I had as many people that love me as love you. Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. And I said, so how do you answer that? He goes, well, it's pretty simple. He said, everybody wants what I have. The only question is, are you willing to do what I did to get it? And that's where the rubber meets the road. Are you willing to do what others have done to achieve the same level of success or the same whatever? And so again, for me, it was really interesting, because in my workout this morning, I was sitting there and sometimes I just think, I mean, because I'm swimming and it's, what else do I have to do, right? And so I was sitting there thinking, going, I have talked about having a massive web presence to do good for years. And I really feel like I'm really close to accomplishing that. That's pretty awesome. So,
you know, that's one of those things, like if I was feeling really dedicated this afternoon, what did we plan out? 2 hours?
Yeah.
At this point in time, I'm not going to lie, doing the double funnel TV, like, has streamlined a lot of those operations. We could literally give you the base that you need to do that, combining funnels and blogging for content in a way that looks great, probably in the same 2 hours that we're in the office.
Well, and that's what I want.
Easy, like,
yeah, that's what I want to show you.
And they're like, it's too hard. And don't get me wrong, that's bringing some of my expertise. So I'm not going to say, like, I don't understand the how. This is what I do for a living. It's that easy, though. In the end, you can figure it out. You can hire someone for, low cost to get started.
Right.
You can leverage these funnel builders where, as you can see, you can build your base. It's not going to be perfect, but you can build your base in an hour. You can build your base in one freaking day.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to show you, because I see how it, and again, it's not like I'm just all of a sudden going, oh, I got a new idea. I've been working on this for a long time, so don't get me wrong. And that's the other side of it, is sometimes people sit there and say, God, you just haven't done blah, blah, blah. Well, I haven't done blah, blah, blah because it wasn't the right time.
Right.
It's not that I haven't worked on blah, blah, blah. It hasn't been accomplished yet because the timing is, God's plan and timing is perfect. Mm-hmm. It wasn't supposed to happen until now, but it is going to happen now, and it's going to happen in a massive way. So sometimes it takes all the not happening to make it happen bigger. Yep. And most people are not patient enough. This is why the why has to be strong. Because
there may be, between you and David, I feel like my why is not defined and strong enough.
I'm guessing it probably isn't. But you gotta understand how to fight through sometimes years of it not working. A talk I did not too long. God's delays are not denials. Just because it's taken longer doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Now,
I feel like that's everyone. Nobody is an overnight success. No one.
No, you work, and then you're a 10-year overnight success. You know,
you have to have so much experience. So many
all of a sudden, you got so lucky. You know, it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. And that's why a mentor's experience is a great teacher. It's just a very expensive teacher. So if you can leverage somebody else's experience, you can get there faster. So again, this kid that I was talking to the other night, he's got a wife and a kid. The kid's 3 years old. He's, I think, 28. And he's got a true heart to make a difference on the planet. And he said, how do I do it? I said, do you have a coach? He goes, no. I said, do you think you should probably have one? He goes, are you trying to sell me? I said, not what I said whatsoever. I said, do you think you should probably have a coach? And he said, I'm thinking that answer is yes. I said, well, no, that answer is yes. Now, who that coach is, that's a whole different story, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to find out who takes you to the right place. But I said,
Michael Jordan had another coach. He had a lot of coaches.
Michael Jordan had a significant number. Well, is he pretty good? Tiger Woods has a coach. Is he pretty good? Well, why does he have a coach? Because a coach can spot things you can't spot. And a coach, and that's what I said to him, because the other night, this is the guy that yesterday when I was saying, I'm going to go until you cry. And I was joking. I don't do that. But I said, I'm going to share things that you need to hear. I'm not going to share the things you want to hear. That's not what a coach tells you, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And so it is one of those kind of things that you know, you do everything in your power to again, when you got a big enough what do you want to do? You want to see your kids grow up healthy and happy. Great. What? Why do you want to do it? Because God gave you those kids. Because those kids are an extension of you. Because awesome. How are you going to do it? Guess what? You tell people, I want to have the greatest kids in the history of ever. People will start giving you books. They will start suggesting you do this. They will, they'll give you the how, but you got to know the what and the why.
Good point. That's a good ending point too, since it's 4. And I've got to get to the office because I have a stack of appointments, including you.
That's right. I'll see you later, and we'll see everybody on Monday.
All right, bye guys, and thanks for joining. Join us next Friday. And then I missed a comment from Rayanne. The basic human need to be heard and validated.
Absolutely.
That's perfect.
See y'all. Have a fabulous weekend.
See y'all guys on Monday. Bye.